All right, welcome to another edition of the Florida Physique Report, episode number 50. We are at episode number 50, and today is a very special show. Today is Wednesday, November 25th, the day before Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. On today's show, like I said, we got a very special show. First of all, we're going to have a wrap-up of the big NPC Nationals that took place last weekend on November 20th and 21st out in Miami, Florida. It is the premier national level event of the year in bodybuilding, and it finishes pretty much off the contest year. There's a couple more shows left here in the Florida area, but the Nationals was the big show. 873 competitors and Florida athletes, and the NPC did really well. So we're going to go over that show in a minute. We've also got some results of the Florida Gold Cup that took place on November 14th, which was held out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Our guest today on the show, we're going to have Dr. Josefina Monasterio, who is a top competitor, one of the most energetic and positive people you'll meet in the NPC Florida area. I believe Dr. Josephina is in her 60s now, and she's still making improvements, so we got a great interview with her. But our special guest today, this week on the Florida Physique Report, is movie star, WWE star, Dave Batista. Dave is starring in the new James Bond movie Spectre. He plays the bad guy in it, and he's the muscle in the movie, and he has a great fight scene with Daniel Craig, who plays James Bond. Dave has really got some really great success going on in the movie business. He was in the Guardians of the Galaxy last year, which is one of the top grossing movies of the year, and we're going to talk a little bit about his movie career and how he got into the movies and what he's got coming up. We got a great interview with big Dave Batista, who trains right here at the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa, Florida. So I thank Dave for taking the time to join us for a short interview. It's the first time we ever had a movie star on the Florida Physique Report, so I'm really glad Dave was able to join us. All right, before we get to that, let's go over some of the shows that took place over the last couple weeks. We have not been on the Florida Physique Report in 2 weeks, so we got some catching up to do. As I said, they had the NPC Florida Gold Cup on November 14th, which took place out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Frank Dalto and Amanda Marinelli were the promoters. And unfortunately, I was not able to get any pictures from the show. They had a new photographer at the show, Adams Photo Studio, which I believe they're out in Ohio. But I contacted them for photos, and the guy never got back to me. So we were not able to get any photos of that competition. I apologize to the competitors, because I know you guys like getting your photos up on the Florida Physique Report. But Maria Blondo from the NPC Southern Florida area did send me the results. So I do have the results of that contest, which I'll go over real quick here. In the open men's bodybuilding, Rock Contardi was the winner, and Rock just won his very first show a couple weeks ago at the Champions Cup. So this is his second overall win. He's a great natural bodybuilder, young guy. I think he's 27 years old. He's a police officer out in the South Florida area. Congratulations to Rock. I know he's a real hard trainer, and he's got a great natural physique. He's sort of an old school classical bodybuilding physique, so I really love his physique, so I'm glad he won overall again. And the Masters bodybuilding, Chris McKenzie was the overall winner there. The women's bodybuilder, as I mentioned, Dr. Josefina Monasterio won not only the over 60 and the Masters overall, but she also won the open women's bodybuilding overall. So we're going to talk to her about that in a minute when we have our interview with her. Erica Brigatti was the figure open winner. Tatiana Parker was the figure Masters winner. Legna Gonzalez, who I believe did really well at the Ruby Championships a few weeks ago, was the Bikini Open and the Bikini Masters winner. Sarita Hernandez was the Bikini Novice winner. Justin Woodward won the Men's Physique Open and the Men's Physique Novice. Tia Marie Hamilton won the Women's Physique. Rixie Duagardi won the Women's Physique Masters. Also on that same night, on November 14th, they had the Northwest Florida Flex Fest out in Pensacola, Florida, and Maury Harrison was the promoter there. Again, I could not get any pictures, could not even get any results from that show. I contacted Maury Harrison, but she never called me back, so unfortunately, no coverage for the Northwest Florida Flex Fest. This weekend on November 28th, 2 days after Thanksgiving, there's going to be another competition in the Southern Florida area called the South Florida, and it's a national qualifier. It's going to take place in Miami, Florida at the Miami-Dade County Auditorium. Sergio Pacheco and Mari Redondo are the promoters of that contest. For more information on that show, go to npcsouthflorida.com. And again, that'll be a national qualifier taking place this weekend, 2 days after Thanksgiving. So all those competitors will be dieting over Thanksgiving, unfortunately. And then next weekend on December 5th will be the last contest of the 2015 season. It is the NPC Winter Classic. It's going to be promoted by Golden Lion Productions. Giovanni and Paco Hernandez are going to be doing that show. It's going to take place out in Fort Lauderdale. It's going to be a great show. Tricky Jackson and Karina Nascimento are going to be the guest posers. For more information on that show, go to goldenlionproductions.com. That, like I said, that'll be December 5th in Fort Lauderdale. That'll be the last competition of the 2015 season. But there are so many contests coming up nowadays, guys. There's not going to be much of a break because in January, Richie Alvarez is going to be promoting his first show. And then in February, speaking of Karina Nascimento, she's going to be promoting her first show. So it's never going to stop. There's shows every single month of the year now in the NPC Florida area. All right, let's go over the NPC Nationals. This was the big competition that took place in Miami, Florida. As I said, 873 competitors. I'm not going to go over the results of the show. I do have the NPC National prejudging and the finals. The report is up on floridaphysique.com. I took a ton of pictures. I got the full results, so please go to that. I also did some interviews at the show. Karina Nascimento was one of the interviews we did, and so please go and check that out on floridaphysique.com. I've got all that information and a ton of pictures from both the prejudging and the finals. But I did want to go over how the Florida athletes did in the NPC Nationals. First of all, for the totals, like I said, there was 873 total competitors. They had 18 women bodybuilders, 148 figure competitors, 230 men's physique competitors, 65 women's physique competitors, 246 bikini competitors, and 166 men's bodybuilding competitors. So it was a huge, huge event. And Florida athletes did really well. I'm going to mention the Florida athletes that got their pro cards. In the men's bodybuilding division, in the lightweight class, Rafael Gonzalez, who hails from Coconut Creek, Florida, was second place in the lightweight class, so he gets his pro card. The welterweight class really cleaned up with the NPC Florida competitors. Both first and second place, both came from Florida. First place went to Theodore Atkins from Orange Park, Florida, who was just in the southeastern USA. And he actually got second in that class, but he really dialed it in for this show. Came in as a welterweight, took first place. What a great physique Theodore's got. Really complete, thick physique. He's going to do really well once he puts on a little more size in the 212 division. And then John Durante, who's got some of the freakiest legs you ever saw. Gigantic calves, crazy quads, unbelievable quad sweep. He took second place to Theodore. Must have been a very close decision. John is from Wellington, Florida. So again, both first and second place in the welterweight class, both from Florida. So congratulations to both Theodore and John for getting their pro cards. In the middleweight class, we just mentioned the Southeastern USA that Chris Eady put on in Orlando. The winner of that contest, Pablo Ruiz, who is trained by George Farah, really came in, dialed it in, lost about, I think, about 8 or 10 pounds from that contest, came in as a middleweight, a light middleweight. He was only, I believe, 172 pounds, and he took second place in this contest. He comes from Lakewood Ranch, Florida, and he got beat by a really good bodybuilder, David Robinson. But regardless, Pablo Ruiz gets his pro card for taking second place, so we wish him the best of luck. He's a very competitive bodybuilder. He's going to do really well in the future. In the women's physique class, Tracy Ivy took first place in Class A. She is from Jacksonville, Florida. Tracy, I think, just got second place at the recent All-South contest, so congratulations to Tracy. And Indrell Thomas took first place in Class B, and she is from Green Acres, Florida. Indrell has a great physique, great women's physique competitor, and very complete, real thick. She's going to do really well also. Moving on to the bikini division, Miko Bricky from Navarre, Florida, took second place in Class C, so she earns her pro card. Congratulations to Miko. And Keisha McKenzie took first place in Class E, first place. So congratulations to her. She's from Brooksville, Florida. I think she got second place at the recent NPC Europa in Orlando back in April or May. So she really stepped it up, and she looked fantastic. She's got a great look. Going over to the men's physique, in Class A, again, first place and second place both came from Florida. Mark Celestin from West Palm Beach, Florida got second place, and the class went to Gerardo Gabriel from Sanford, Florida, and he took first place. So congratulations to both Mark and Gerardo. And the figure division, Nicole Mutterford took first place. She is from Sarasota. She took first place in Class A. Congratulations to Nicole. And Natalia Coelho, 19 years old, from Winter Garden, Florida, takes first place in Class C at the NPC Nationals. We got an interview with Natalia on FloridaPhysique.com. That's incredible. 19 years old. I remember Natalia a couple years ago, I think just last year, when she was competing in the teenage division. She stepped it up to the open division, and she goes all the way to the NPC Nationals and wins first place in her class. That's just amazing. I also want to mention Leon McCall, who just won the All-South. He's actually from Georgia, but he took second place in Class F, and he also won. He's being trained by Don Long. Some of the other competitors from Florida who did really good, Juliana Trebling took third place in the women's physique Class A, so she's actually the girlfriend of John Durante. So I was hoping both of them would come up with pro cards, but Juliana came very, very close, third place, missed it by one spot. Barbie Titus was fifth place in Class A. Sydney Watson, who just won the women's physique at the All-South, she took third place at the Nationals last year. She was hoping to get her pro card this year. Unfortunately, she only got fifth place in Class C. That was very competitive. Jennifer Keller, very ripped, came in fifth place also in Class D in women's physique. In the bikini, Ariana Adami took fifth place in bikini Class B, so she did really well. Frankie Diaz took second place in the women's bodybuilding in the lightweight division. August Lysick, who won quite a few shows in the men's physique overall out here in Florida last year, but only took 13th place at the Nationals. He was really disappointed. He came in much better this year and took third place. So August is right there. He missed it by one spot, missed that pro card by one spot. I know he was disappointed, but what a great improvement from 13th to third in 1 year. Boye Yordanov took fifth place in men's physique in Class F. Tiffany Faust, who was just in the Southern States contest and did really well there, as well as I think the Miami Muscle contest, she took third place in the figure division in Class B. And Tiffany, you look fantastic. If you're listening to this, I think this is the best you ever looked. Really dialed it in. I thought she was going to get her pro card, but she looked great. Bonnie Peterson also looked really, really good. She also got third place in Class D in the figure. And Maud Extantis, who we had on the Florida Physique Report about 3 weeks ago, she took third place also in Class E. So congratulations to all you guys. Tiffany, Bonnie, and Maud, you all look fantastic in the figure division. I also want to mention Rachel Thorpe, who just won the All-South. And Rachel's a very young competitor, great structure. She got sixth place in Class F. So Rachel is going to be a future winner, mark my words. I also want to mention Yesenia Perez, who won the Fort Lauderdale Cup in the figure division. She did really well. She actually got 11th in the Nationals, but she's got a great structure, a young competitor, only 23 years old. Yesenia came all the way here to the Powerhouse Gym in Tampa, Florida from Miami. She traveled all the way from Miami, and she shot a training video, a back and a hamstring training video out here at Powerhouse, and we're going to have that video up this week on FloridaPhysique.com. So thanks to Yesenia for coming all the way out here. All right, so that's the results from the Nationals. Again, we want to mention the South Florida contest coming up this weekend in Miami, Florida. It's a national qualifier at the Miami-Dade County Auditorium. And we're going to take a break from our sponsors, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by Dr. Josefina Monasterio, and then our special guest, Mr. Dave Batista. Big Dave Batista is going to be joining us here on the Florida Physique Report to talk about his movie career. So we'll be right back with the Florida Physique Report. Stay with us. Check out NFE All Natural Warrior Supplements, featuring pure isolate protein made with natural stevia flavor, 1 gram of sugar and no fat. NFE Trim Thermogenic Fat Burner, boost your metabolism, suppress your appetite, build strength, develop muscle, and shed that body fat. Go to NFE.com today.
NFE stands for No Freaking Excuses.
All right, welcome back to the Florida Physique Report. This is episode number 50, and I've interviewed some bodybuilders on the show, but I've never had a movie star before. So thanks, Dave, for showing us. The big Dave Batista. Dave, I see you training here at the Powerhouse Gym, and I've been watching your movie career. It's really been progressing. Yeah. And I'm really excited about this last James Bond movie you just did called Spectre, which I saw last week. It was really awesome. So tell us a little bit about that, how you got the role and stuff. I thought you were one of the best James Bond villains in a long time.
Yeah, thank you. I actually got the role. They actually reached out to us, which is weird because I struggled for a few years, and when I got the role of Drax, Guardians of the Galaxy, really opened up a lot of doors for me. Mm-hmm. And so it was actually someone who saw that performance as Drax got the idea, because they were looking for a particular type of henchman, and they wanted to really bring back the old school Jaws type, the odd job type of henchman. So it was rough finding a guy who met the physical requirements, but also could have the very easygoing demeanor.
So we talked about this because you don't say anything in the movie. You're real silent.
I have one word, and originally I wasn't supposed to have any words.
Okay.
And it was another thing. It came about on set. It was one of those things where, they were going back and forth about whether they wanted me to say something just really profound, or just nothing at all, or just say one word. So we did a bunch of one-liners and stuff. We did a bunch of stuff, but that was the one they wanted. And the funny thing was when they decided they just wanted me to say shit. And so when I said it, I looked at the camera and I said shit. Right. But they actually called me up at home and said, "We need you to do a voiceover. We need you to voice that over." And I was like, "For what? One word."
One word, right?
And they said, "Well, we don't want you to sound so American." So we did it. We dubbed it over, and they said it was really just we did a bunch of different kind of accents. They all sounded the same, but they wanted more of an Eastern European, so very nondescript, a sheet. So that's what we did.
Yeah, I love the way the James Bond movies are going because, like you said, they're sort of going back to the original ones. And for anybody that saw the original, like Dr. No and From Russia with Love, they have Spectre in there, and they're sort of bringing all that back. So
it was a cool thing. It was an intentional thing.
Yeah.
I have to owe that, give the credit to Sam Mendes. He wanted to really bring back the old school feel. It's kind of a cool thing when you think about it because, with all these movies, they're really becoming generic and they're coming all about stunts. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to disrespect anybody, but they really are. They're coming very generic. A lot of the action stuff is really they're shaking the camera around, or they make it look like more frenetic action than it actually is. And Sam wanted to get away from that and really go back to old school, be very true to the roots of James Bond. Yeah. So he went back. He took a step back, starting with Skyfall, even up to the introduction of Miss Moneypenny. They started bringing back the old characters. So it's really an interesting thing, but now, because this one in particular just really captures the feel of old school, even more of the novels of James Bond. But, with the characters being more memorable and the scenery and everything, and just the way they're shot. I mean, it's really kind of a cool thing. Yeah, out of all the James Bond movies, I thought one of the best fight scenes was in From Russia with Love, where Robert Shaw and Sean Connery fight on that train. Right. And your fight scene with Daniel Craig in this movie sort of brought back to mind to that. It was just physical, one-on-one fight. That's exactly what we were going for. And it really does capture that. And that fight scene in particular is a fight scene that was way ahead of its time. I mean, people may not realize it now watching it, but it was so rough and dark and gritty. Yeah. I mean, back then they weren't doing that. They were doing the terrible, the John Wayne type punches, knock them out. But they weren't doing. I mean, it was just a really dark, rough, gritty, violent, fight scene,
and very real too.
Very real. That's what and that's what it would be, and that's what we wanted to capture with this. So it is very much an homage to
Yeah.
those type of scenes.
Yeah, I thought that scene was awesome. I mean, I was telling you after I saw it, I said, like, James Bond to me looked like he was really in danger of getting killed, you know, because you were so physical in it.
We beat the shit out of each other. Man.
Oh, you did?
I've told people, like, we got into it, but we talked about it. We did, actually, because we rehearsed this for months. And we talked about it, and we knew that it was going to be very physical because they needed to capture that because we weren't going to do a lot of camera tricks.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to shoot this, and what we got on film is what we got.
Right.
So we didn't have a whole lot of leeway, which was a cool thing, but also it makes it rough. I mean, physically, it makes it rough because I think people, you know, when they see this fight scene condensed into a few minutes, they don't realize that it's. I mean, we're to take after take after take after day after day, and just getting beat up, and bumps and bruises just start to become very painful. And so we did this for a long time, and he got seriously injured.
Did he?
When we first started? Yeah, he actually required knee surgery.
Really?
While we were filming.
Wow.
And so, you know, I got a little fracture in my nose.
Yeah, I heard you thought he busted your nose, right?
But it's just one of those things. But it's, you know, we've gotten so. It was really cool because we did the London premiere. And after that fight scene, and it was a royal premiere, so you know it's a little stiff. It's very, very English. Mm-hmm. But after that scene, we got a round of applause, you know, and it was like that
really?
felt good, man. It just felt like it made it all worthwhile. They really appreciate what our, you know, because we did. We sacrificed more than a bit, you know.
Yeah.
Because we don't, you know, Sam Mendes is real big on not. He doesn't like to use stunt doubles, you know, he uses stand-ins. So we really kind of paid the price for that scene. There's actually only one moment in that scene where it's actually not me. And there's a part where I'm just engulfed in fire. That's my stunt double. His name is Rob DeGroot. Great guys. This is the third film that he's doubled me on. But yeah, they lit him on fire. They didn't want to light me on fire.
I wouldn't want that either.
Right, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about making a big movie like this, because I know you've made quite a few movies. You've been in the movie business for many years, but I don't think have you ever made something of this scale before?
No. And it's really, you know, only thing I can compare it to is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
And up until then, I had not made a large film. I mean, I've been pursuing film for years, but this past year is actually the only year where I've been able to like make a living. I can call myself a working actor. Up until then, I was struggling to get roles. So I've worked a lot this year. I actually have a lot of stuff coming out. Next year, I got to work with some great people. So it's really just now starting to pay off. But the cool thing about doing big films like this, well, the way I look at it anyways, if I get to do big films like this that keep me kind of relevant, I also get to do smaller films too that give me more freedom and kind of give me that leeway because I'm still learning on the job. Mm-hmm. I'm learning to be an actor on the job. Mm-hmm. So I like to do the smaller roles because I have more freedom and I get, you know, I feel like I learn more when I have more freedom.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, I read this article on Muscle Fitness. You said you might even want to do like something like Shakespeare, huh?
Yeah, well, that's when I originally started training with an acting coach. He had me work Shakespeare. We did like selected scenes, but it was really it's one of those things. The dialogue in Shakespeare is so tricky.
Yeah.
Especially when you involve the dialogue, that's hard for me to understand what the emotions that are involved in the scene.
Yeah, right.
It was just my acting coaches always say, if you can do Shakespeare, you can do anything. So it was like a few selected scenes we started off, and would usually start the day off with that and do other scenes because that just kind of got rid of all your inhibitions, man. Because it's just it's such a hard thing to do. I know it's not hard for everybody, but for a guy like me who's like from the streets and stuff, Shakespeare is like almost impossible. Man.
Yeah. So how about Guardians of the Galaxy? How did that come about? I'm sure that was a surprise to you. I think that was the #1 grossing film, right, of last year, 2014?
I don't know if it was the #1 grossing because we had some, you know, they had some big films that came out that did really well. Like I don't think we hit $1 billion on Guardians. Okay. But we were an unknown franchise. So for an unknown franchise to do that well was crazy because I think we were up around 800 million. Yeah. Which is way. I mean, we did really well. It's a successful film. Right. You know, it did way better. I mean, we set records in opening weekends and summer box offices and worldwide box offices. But the thing is we were a complete unknown entity. So for an unknown entity to do that well is like it's unheard of. Yeah. So that was the thing. I think now we've got an established built-in audience, and so the next one I think was going to do like much better for sure. Yeah.
Now, when you were making it, that's a Marvel Comics script or a Marvel Comics characters, but I never heard of it. It's from the Marvel Comics.
That was the thing. Nobody ever heard. Nobody really. When I first heard of the character, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and the character Drax, I had no idea. I'd never heard of them. It was hard to even research them because they were just an obscure comic that, unless you're an extremely hardcore comic fan, you probably just never heard of.
Yeah. So when you were making that, the thing that made that movie so successful, I think, was the sense of humor it had, because it was really funny. You had some great lines in it.
For sure.
Did you know when you were making it that it was going to be a hit because of, you know, because of the lines you were reading and stuff?
We knew it was good.
Yeah.
We knew it was great because of the script and because of, you know, we're there seeing the performances, seeing the way they're cut together, and seeing the scenery, seeing the sets, and we knew it was going to be great. We didn't know it was going to be as big as it was.
Yeah.
And the cool thing, you know, with Drax, I think Drax in particular, and James intentionally wanted this because he didn't want to give the people what they were expecting. They were expecting a big dumb musclehead who didn't do anything, didn't say anything, just cut things up, and you know was always a tough guy. But he wanted to kind of go the opposite route and have the physical, you know, menace.
Yeah.
But also just with him being so humorous because of because he takes everything literally. It's just so ridiculous.
Right.
You know, so it just makes for a lot of laughs.
She betrayed Ronan. He's coming back for her. And when he does, that's when you...
Why would I put my finger on his throat?
What? Oh, no, it's a symbol. This is a symbol for you slicing his throat.
I would not slice his throat. I would cut his head clean off.
It's a general expression for you killing somebody. You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
No.
That's the thing about the movie, and that's why it did so well. Is because you can't, when you're introducing people, you have to, one, tell the story so people know where they're from, who they are. But also, to keep people's interest, you have to entertain them.
Yeah.
And the entertainment in Guardians came from the laughs. We told the story, but then we kept them laughing. You know, that's how you keep people's attention. You can't always be so serious, so dark.
Right.
Because the characters are somewhat dark.
Right.
So if you make them laugh and then have some good music, it's feel good. It makes you feel good. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. It's just such a fun, entertaining movie. So
Right.
I think that's why it did so well. In the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I watch all the superhero movies and they're pretty much all the same, you know, the same formula, but this one was totally different because it did have such a great sense of humor
Yeah,
to
but I
it.
think that's the cool thing about Marvel. I think that's what they've tapped into that, you know, I don't think DC Comics has yet been able to tap into as they do. They have such good pacing and they know when to, you know, ease up. They know when to make people laugh because you can only keep it so serious and so action-packed for so long before people start to kind of just, it becomes a one-note wonder. You know?
Right.
It's a one-note thing. But, you know, Marvel has really tapped into that. They get, because people, you know, who are superhero fans, I think at the end of the day, they want to have fun. You know,
Right.
Superheroes are fun.
Right,
You know, comic books are fun.
Right,
You know,
entertaining,
I think, So I think you can't really lose track of that. And Marvel definitely hasn't.
Now, what about the sequel? Are they going to do a sequel to that? I imagine they would.
Yeah,
It's
we
such
start
a-
filming
yeah.
the next Guardians in February. We
Okay.
actually start. We'll go up for they're in pre-production already, but we'll go up for rehearsals and stuff in January. Start filming February.
Chris Pratt and Zoe Saldana, they'll
Same
be
cast,
back.
yeah, same cast, yeah.
Okay.
All back. Yeah.
What other movies you got coming up, Dave?
So Spectre was just released. I also had
Right.
a film released called Heist.
Yeah, with
It
Robert
was
De Niro.
a real solid cast, and it was really, you know, it was one of those dark horses that people didn't, you know, they originally didn't have no plans to put it in theaters, but they did end up putting it in theaters. And I think really because, you know, the script's not terribly original, but you know, it had such a strong cast, and everybody really, they kind of put their hearts and souls into it. So it's me, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Morris Chestnut, who's awesome in it, man. Mark Paul Gosselaar's awesome in it. Robert De Niro, Gina Carano. Did I say Gina Carano?
Yeah.
Even if I did, I'll say it again.
Carrera,
Gina Carano's in it.
Yeah.
Kate Bosworth's in it. It's a real strong cast, man.
Wow.
And then I did a movie recently with Melissa McCarthy, a comedy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that'll come out
She's
in I
great.
think March or April.
Okay.
And then I did another one with Luc Besson. Luc Besson produced film that'll come out next summer. Film that in China. It's going to be a kids movie.
Okay.
I'm working a lot, and I'm on a film now. You know,
Yeah.
so I'm home for Thanksgiving, but
Right.
I'm on a film now. So that'll we'll start showing that at Toronto Film Festival next September. It's called Bushwick. Yeah, it's going to be a great movie with Brittany Snow, who's really, really talented. And she has had a really good past few years with Pitch Perfect.
Okay.
One of the stars of Pitch Perfect, and that's done like huge business.
Yeah. So how's it feel now being really an established actor, and they're coming after you, right, for roles? And
Yeah,
stuff?
it doesn't. You know me, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't change me. I'm here.
Right.
I do this because I enjoy it, because I love it. But I'm basically, at the end of the day, I'm always the same person. I don't live my life like a superstar.
Right.
You know, man. I come and I train. And that's what I love to do, and I spend time with my wife and my dogs, and stay here in Tampa. Man.
And congratulations on your wedding. You just got married, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your training, Dave. I see you in the gym here down at downtown Tampa Powerhouse, and You do a lot of sort of MMA type fighting, right? On the bag and stuff?
Well, I do that usually just to warm up. You know, I'm old and beaten up. So, and I like to get a little cardio in before I start training because I like to be warm and loose. So I usually do that, a little shadow boxing, beat on the back for half an hour or so. And then, you know, I recently started hitting weights again this past year.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, I've been on the weights more often. But, you know, it's a very basic training. I don't do anything fancy. Yeah. You know, it's just, I like to vary my training. I like to do all different types of training. Keep it interesting, you know. I don't like to be one-noted and do the same thing all the time. You know me, sometimes I may just go out and cycle. Yeah. You know, sometimes I may have, you know, sit home all day and just do free squats all day or just go out and run around with my dogs. Right. I'm always active.
But I imagine hitting the bag and stuff, that's got to help you with the movies, you know, with your fight scenes and stuff, because it's authentic and you're used to doing that, right?
Yeah,
compared to someone who doesn't do that well.
Well, I think it's, you know, my athleticism has definitely helped me. But it's weird because the stuff that we do in like martial arts and fighting, stuff that you would feel right, usually doesn't look great on film. You know, and the best example I can give is a lot of times when you're throwing a right hook, I mean a right cross. Right. You know, it's a straight line. Right. Straight from here to here. That's the fastest way to hit somebody. Also, you keep your hands up. When you do that in films, you're not only blocking your face out, but it looks more dramatic if you swing from way back here. It just looks better on film. Right. It doesn't make any sense. But, it's just different.
But sometimes I'll see big guys in a movie, and you could sort of tell when they start the fight scene, they really don't know how to fight. Where compared to someone like you, who's got an MMA background, you were in the professional wrestling for so long, you're so physical. I would think that, you know, like when you were in that fight scene with James Bond, it looked authentic because not only are you a big guy, but it looks like you can handle yourself.
That was the cool thing about it because they tailored that fight to meet our needs. And we were like really up close and personal, and that's why that was one of the issues. Yeah. Because there was times when they just wanted me to, I mean, they didn't want me throwing way over here. They wanted me throwing right at his face. Right. So it's my job to throw at his face, his job to get out of the way. And that becomes, when you get guys moving very fast in tight quarters, it becomes dangerous. Yeah. You know, because he's letting me throw at him, but he just has to move. Yeah. Because it's not block stuff, it's move stuff. Right. So that's definitely a strength, but you know, I think you're right, man. Some guys can do it, some guys can't. Yeah. I definitely carry that with me. Same as other guys, like, you know, The Rock. He's been able to carry that with him. He looks the part. He is the part. He's, you know, he's athletic as hell when it comes across him. He looks like he knows what he's doing because he does. Yeah. You know, and other guys you can see that are fighters and trained to fight who just carry that athleticism with them on the films. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one film with The Rock when it was one of his first movies when he went out to that Amazon jungle, and there was that fight in the bar. Yeah. And that bar scene, I mean, that looked like a real fight, you know, where he's fighting all those big football players. Yeah. Do you know him pretty well, The Rock?
I mean, I worked with him, and we keep in touch. I talked to him recently. You know, he's really, you know, the greatest thing about him, man, is he's, from day one, since I first started with WWE, he was always very gracious to me. He always opened up his heart to me and just offered me all kinds of advice. And to this day, last time I saw him, which was a while ago, it was at WrestleMania 30, and he gave me his number. He said, if you ever need advice, just call me. And I've called him. Yeah. And he's given me advice. He's like kept true to his word when I know he's busy as hell. Yeah. But he doesn't have to. Yeah. But he's just always kept true to his word, man. And that's just, I mean, that says a lot, man. That's just the kind of guy he is. But he's always been like that. You know, since day one, since before, you know, since I stepped foot in the WWE, he was like that with me. But I think it's a tribute to who he is as a person, his character. He's just a good dude.
Yeah, he seems like a good guy.
He is, man.
And I read in Muscle and Fitness, you said he's like a real movie star. Like when he comes into the room, he lights up the room.
You feel that dude walk into a room. It's weird, man. He's got an aura about him. Yeah. There's something that's larger than life about him, not just physically, but there is something. He has a presence that you can't buy. Yeah. I mean, you can't purchase that presence, man. Right. He's just got it. Right. But you know, the cool thing about him is he's one of the hardest working dudes I've ever met. Really? Like, he is nonstop, man. He's just,
he makes movie after movie.
Movie after movie, and he's also proactive, and he's just, I mean, he's on it. He's on top of the world is because he's earned it. You know, he's not like they didn't hand him anything, man. He earned it. So it's really amazing to see him.
Do you know John Cena pretty well?
Yeah, pretty well. I mean, we were on the road together for years. Not only that, but we spent time at OVW training together, so pretty well. I don't keep in touch with him all that much. We've exchanged some pretty funny texts over the years, but he's still on the road with the WWE. He's still on top of that, And I've got my issues with the company, so
Yeah.
But I like John. We get along great.
Yeah, the reason I brought him up was because, in the movie business, he started off sort of like as an action star, and now I notice he's done a couple movies where he's played like a comedy role, like that Trainwreck, and he was so funny in that.
So funny in
Yeah.
that. And that's his niche.
Yeah,
They
really.
tried to. I guess they tried.
And I didn't think he would fit into that, but he does.
Perfectly, but I think anybody who knows John would have seen that.
Yeah.
'Cause he's just funny. He's a funny, witty dude. The stuff that comes out of his mouth is hysterical, and that's why he's so good at promos, because he's just very witty. He's very natural about it.
Yeah,
And
spontaneous.
it's just his thought process. But he's also, the best thing about him is he's a little twisted too. I mean, he's a funny kind of twisted dude.
Right.
And so I think that's his niche, man. I think the drama stuff, the action. He's good at action, but I think he's just such a funny, witty person. I think that's his niche, man. He'd be much better in lighthearted, buddy movies. That's just my take on it.
Right.
But I thought he was hysterical in Trainwreck.
Yeah, I did
He's
too.
the funniest part about the movie.
He was.
I think he's funnier than
really
Amy
was.
Schumer. I
Yeah.
laughed my ass off everything that came out of his mouth.
Yeah.
It was so ridiculous.
Me too. It was hilarious.
Who is this guy? Talk dirty to me.
I was coming out of the gym.
Yeah?
Just done a huge squat workout.
Okay.
Had those short shorts on. My legs were throbbing.
All right, you're just describing yourself.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because I think the movies now are changing. Back in the 80s, you had Arnold and Stallone, and
Right.
it was all action, straight action movies, and that was the trend back then. But now it's like you really have to diversify. You got to be able to do comedy. You got to be able to do dramatic roles, and
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. That's what I'm trying to do. But the thing with me was because of the way I looked.
Yeah.
It was hard breaking down that stereotype, man.
Yeah.
Because they just kind of slapped a label on me. But I've covered all of that this year, man. I've done dramatic stuff. I've done PG-rated stuff. I've done comedy stuff. I'm kind of really trying to show people my range, but also let them in on who I am as a person, because I'm not really who you would perceive me to be.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty lighthearted person, man. I really don't take myself very seriously at all.
Right.
And so I don't know, man. I think that doors are opening for me, and people are getting to know who I am and know what I want to be as an actor and stuff. So yeah, definitely doors are open. I've had a great year, man.
So was the Guardians the one that opened that up? Because I think
for
before
sure.
that you were playing more villains, right? More bad guys.
Guardians definitely was the one that it kicked open doors for me. I mean, there was people who helped me out along the way, people who believed in me. Man with the Iron Fist was a huge deal for me. RZA, who was the director and writer and director of that, and star of that.
Tarantino was a producer of that, wasn't he?
Tarantino was a producer, and it was Tarantino Presents. But it was more RZA who believed in me from the very beginning. Then Eli Roth, who was also a producer, really believed in me. Then we go to with Riddick. Vin Diesel he was a huge supporter of mine, man.
Yeah.
And the producer of that, Radar Pictures, huge supporters. Andy McCarthy, the casting agent of that. I've been very supportive of me throughout the years, man. So I've been really, really blessed, man. To have some, even though I was, it was a hard grind. I did along the way just had people who just really believed in me and supported me.
Yeah. Is there anybody you'd really like to work with, like a certain director or an actor, that would be like your dream?
No, top of my list of directors, and I've actually talked with them recently, was Guy Ritchie. I'm a huge Guy Ritchie fan.
Yeah.
I love this dude. I just think he's probably one of the most talented directors in the world. But I like the traditional Guy Ritchie type stuff. Lock, Stock, Snatch, that type of stuff, rock and roll. That's the kind of Guy Ritchie stuff I want to do.
You'd be great and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but I'm dying to do it, and I've talked to him, and it might be a challenge just because those types of films are just not being done. They're not being done very much. Those type of films they're not really paying the bills. Studios aren't putting them out because they're not producing the big bucks.
Right.
But also, I want to work with The Rock. I've recently talked to him. I was like, dude, I'm dying. I hate to ride your coattails like everybody else, but I said I'd love to, man. If you get the opportunity, I'd love to work with you. And there's a few other people, man. I'm a huge Mickey Rourke fan. I love that dude, man.
Yeah.
A few other people along the way. I think I'd definitely like to work with Scorsese. I'm a huge Scorsese fan.
Yeah.
And Tarantino, of course. I think Tarantino and Guy Ritchie are just my two favorite directors.
Yeah. I would think as an actor, you'd love to be in a Tarantino movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Those movies are fantastic. I love all of his movies.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree.
All right, Dave. Well, thanks for joining us on the Florida Physique Report. I really appreciate it. I know you're busy.
No, it's good.
And it's great to talk to a movie star on the show, like I said. All right,
cool.
Thanks, Dave. And have a great Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And thanks for joining us on the Florida Physique Report.
Happy holidays.
All right. All right, welcome back to the Florida Physique Report. This is episode number 50. It's our special show. We have a special guest with us today, Dr. Josefina Monasterio, who just won again over the weekend at the NPC Florida Gold Cup. And you won the bodybuilding, right? You cleaned up. You won the Masters and the Open.
Yes, and the overall.
And the overall, right. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Great to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Well, I want to talk to you about your life, about your career in the physique world, because I've seen you on stage many times. You were at my show, the Natural Suncoast earlier this year, and you won first place there. And it looks like you're getting even in better shape this year. I've noticed your pictures on Facebook. It's like you're getting leaner. You're getting in better shape.
Yes, that's the purpose, right?
Right.
You've been at it probably longer than me, and it's just that's the purpose, and I think it's a misconception that people think that you should deteriorate, and I don't believe that. If you work hard, you know it because you work so hard. I follow you on Facebook, and I see you posting, doing your workout, and that's what it's all about. You probably look better now than before, and I see your pictures when you started, and now. Big difference for the better.
Yeah, thank you.
The same with me.
So when did you start lifting? How long have you been doing this?
About 10 years ago.
Okay.
Remember when here in Florida we had those 3-4 hurricanes one after another?
Yeah.
So that year, I think it was 2008.
Uh-huh.
I think what they happened. And so I met somebody here at the TV station because we were doing a special program for people to not to stress out and be calm and be hopeful. And so I met this guy, Steve Pfister, and he owns a gym here in Vero.
Okay.
So he started talking to me and he mentioned bodybuilding, and I had no clue, John. I said, "What is that?"
Oh, really?
And so he started explaining to me, and he said because we were doing that TV show, then he didn't want to talk too much there about that. So he said to me, "Well, there's going to be a concert, here in Vero Beach by the beach. We have they play jazz and some, once a month."
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be me and my wife. I'm going to be there. Let's talk there. So, thank God I went, because when he started telling me about bodybuilding, I said, "Well, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to train." And he said, "I train you." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yes." And that was in January. My first show was in Bradenton, show in Bradenton, and I won.
Your first show?
My first show. And the judges, when you start, in the beginning, you're more conscientious about asking the judge's opinion.
Yeah.
But once, you start doing it, you sort of know what's wrong with you. So the judges were so kind, and they said, you got a great stage presentation. You're gonna give them a run for their money. So the compliments were all positive. So of course, if you start doing something successfully, it's very hard to quit.
Right.
And that's what I work so hard. I want to be better every year. I want to train harder. I look at myself, I see things that I need to improve, and so I was it was such a blessing for me when you posted for this show that I did this week, and you said, "Josefina, you look great, or you look amazing." Because coming from somebody like you, who has experience, who's been doing it, who knows what he's talking about, that made my day. I said, "Oh my God, he says that, I gotta be looking better."
So how old were you when you did your first show?
59.
You were 59 when you did your first show?
Yes, yeah.
How old are you now, Dr. Josephine?
69.
You're 69 now. Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Can you imagine?
Unbelievable. That's amazing.
It is amazing. It's mind-boggling. I mean, it's just amazing.
So
and I feel great.
You were a doctor before you started weight training, before you started in the bodybuilding.
I went back to school probably in 2000.
Okay.
So I have a PhD. So I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a PhD.
Okay.
In personal development and life coaching and all those things that have to do with personal development and the different stages that we go through as an adult. And so because I'm in that environment, so I know how the mind works and all this kind of thing. So that's how I got into it.
Yeah, I could see that when you're on stage because you're very up, you're very positive. You always do the salsa routines, and it's almost like a posing routine. I mean, a guest posing routine. You know, you're more entertaining than most of the guest posers.
And people say, "Don't change it, don't change it, don't change it."
Right.
They see me and say, "Did you bring your feathers?" I said, "Yes, I got my feathers." It's just like you have this, this image you have created.
Right.
So people are, "Oh, I can't wait to see your routine tonight."
Yeah.
So they have fun.
So tell us a little bit about your training and your diet. I mean, for 69, you look amazing. I would have never guessed you'd be in that age.
Yeah. I just eat clean all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I keep my weight no more. I don't put more than like maybe the 8 pounds,
Okay.
the most,
Yeah.
off season. But I try to stay lean. I eat clean, and I exercise every single day. I have a different routine for every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I go to sleep early. I get up at 4:30. By 4:30, I'm doing my cardio, my yoga, my meditation, my prayers. So it's not just the physical part of it. I think the 4 components of the human personality, like your mind, your body, your spirit, and your emotion, you have to cultivate all those 4 components, and
Right.
then you really have longevity, and you feel younger, and then you rejuvenate yourself. That is my secret for me. Is that how I keep myself rejuvenated every single day. And I, these things, you follow a routine, you find a formula for success, and you stick with it
Yeah.
until something is not working, and you go to experts. Like if I had a question, I would ask you about these things. And so, I stay in that part of my life is very square.
Right. So you get up at 4:30, and what do you do again? Tell us what your routine is every morning.
3 o'clock, I'm awake.
3:00. Wow.
3 o'clock. I make my coffee, and then I go in my room and I do my reading of the Bible. I read my scripture,
Okay.
and then I pray, and then I meditate. But that takes me until 4:30. 4:30? No, that takes me at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
For 4 o'clock, I start getting ready for doing my walking meditation. So I walk for 3 miles and I jog back for 3 miles. I start that at 4:30 on time.
Okay.
And then by 6 o'clock, I'm right here at the beach. I live across from the beach. And then I have a spot there at the park in which I do my yoga. And I do probably about 30 minutes of yoga.
Okay.
And of course, you see this, and at that time of the day is such an awesome time because of the stars, the planets, the air, the scents, the smell of the flower. I mean, it's just the paradise of it.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, and they keep you so alive.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'll tell you something later. Ask me about the parties, okay? So I finish my run, I do the yoga, and then after I do my yoga, I jump in the ocean and I play in the water, and then I take my shower right there at the beach.
Uh-huh.
And I get in my car, and then I come home, and then I have my breakfast, and then by 9:30, 10 o'clock, I'm at the gym.
Wow.
It's awesome.
So you're really feeding your spiritual side too.
Absolutely. It's because, John, that's the key. Because, so how many times you don't have your physical strength, but what moves you to go to the gym and train as hard as you train is by the strength of your spirit.
Yeah.
I have to do it. You feel this thing that moves you, that guides you. I mean, for me, it's magical. Let me tell you this beautiful thing that happens to me this weekend.
Okay.
Today is Monday. Saturday night, I get my 4 trophies because the first time out I got my 4 trophies. So one of the girls, by no intentionally, I have my trophy right next to me because you have to wait until the end of the show to take the pictures, right?
The group picture.
So they take they take the overall trophy. Josefina, give me the overall.
So you can't leave, right?
Can't leave, but I won't leave. I mean, you tell me. I'm very. With that stuff. Besides, it's a picture. You need a pictures.
Right. You're not gonna leave for the picture, right?
And what happened? One of the girls, she came over where I was, and then she had some problem with her. She was a bikini girl, and she there was a little carpet, and my trophies were right there, and so she did that with her shoes, and one of the trophies fell, and that's a crack in the foot. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I said, don't worry about it. You won't believe this, John. At the moment that we finish, we're getting ready for the pictures, Amanda, the promoter, comes in, Rick, and says, Josefina, this 3 trophies yours? And I said, no, mine is only one, which is the overall. And Amanda said, no, she got won this, and I got 5 trophies. Don't ask me what about it. And Amanda said, no, that belongs to her. And Amanda, John, took the one, not knowing nothing, the one with a crack, and she replaced it for the other one. I was shocked. And for me, the explanation, the supernatural thing, is because the cultivation of your spiritual reality. Because out of 4 or 5 trophies, she says, okay, this is what belonged to her, and she took the broken one and she gave me a new one. No. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
It's amazing. And that one, I'm always excited and happy because to me, those things happen constantly. It's a part of my life. It's like if something goes wrong, it's like for me, it's like, oh no. It's a completely, like the other day, you got me going. I'm talking to a girl, she used to compete in figure. And so for you to see just the mindset, I said, no, Amisi, we can go to Master National next year, let's train, Master National. And then she said, oh yeah, but that costs a lot of money. And to me, that is not a factor. It's not that you're a millionaire, but in the world, in life, it's an ocean of endless possibilities, and the possibility I focus, that's what the one are gonna manifest. So if I start thinking I don't have the money, I'm blocking my that's is the possibility that I'm gonna snap, that it's gonna happen. So I said to her, oh, okay, burst my bubble, because in my head, that doesn't compute. And it's probably because when I came to this country, I'm coming from Venezuela. My father left my mother when I was 5 years old. My grandmother was a cleaning lady at the hospital. So I didn't have like a trust account to come and study overseas, Right. So, but because I had faith from a young age, and I believe in my dreams, and I believe everything is possible, I found the money through a scholarship, by being a good athlete, by studying, and here I am. So when people use excuses such as money, time, energy, or God, to me, that doesn't compute, because I live in a different reality. Because of what I've done for my life. So I know every stage of my life, things happen in a beautiful way, because that's what you believe. You focus on that. If you focus, whatever you think of, it's got that saying, whatever you think of, that's exactly what's going to happen. And sometimes people don't get it, that having that mind completely out of context of what you want and what you want to do or what you want to achieve is very detrimental for us.
Yeah.
It's not to stay focused. You have to be focused. I'm a monomaniac. You tell me something, I'm like,
Right, the blinders on. Now,
oh, absolutely.
You compete in a lot of shows, and you meet a lot of people, and you have a great personality, of course, so I'm sure you talk to a lot of people, and I'm sure you meet a lot of younger competitors. Do you meet a lot of younger competitors who have the wrong mindset, who are focusing on the wrong things, or they just don't think the right way?
No, when I'm competing. I think it's because of the energy you project is the opposite. In every show, in this last show, 2 women came to me and said, I'm competing because you inspire me.
You inspired them?
Yes. So it's like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So in every show, oh my daughter, I am. It's just mind-boggling. So maybe I think, you attract to you what you think about me, maybe because people see me positive in what the energy that I project.
Right.
They approach me with this negativity, the opposite.
Right.
And also, once they're there, I think also, if you have the capacity to get to the point of going into the show, to be there Friday night and Saturday morning, you better have it together.
Yeah, right. Well, I just think a lot of these the younger competitors, they're so focused on just getting their pro card, you know. And it seems like you look at it more from a spiritual aspect of, this is a lifestyle for you, which is probably a lifestyle for them too. But it's, you're looking at it from a different aspect, I think.
Yeah, you gotta look at it, in a different dimension, because okay, then what? Once you get the pro card, okay, now what?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so it's more like a way of life. This is what you love. This is what you do.
Yeah.
It's nice to get a pro card, but so what? Why get obsessed with that?
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. I look at it differently, for health, for fun. I love it.
Right. And age is obviously not a factor, because as I was saying to you at the beginning, it looks like you've gotten better. I've watched your pictures over Facebook. I haven't gone to every show that you've been in, but it seems like you're getting better as the years progress. You did my show in May, and you did the Southern States, I think, in July. And
yes,
I saw the pictures of you from this last weekend at the Florida Gold Cup, and you look even better.
Yes, yeah, because that's the goal.
Right.
That's I'm gonna do the Pacheco one, and I'm gonna be better for the Pacheco than I was this past weekend, because I'm, just like, it's like when you probably this, you probably go through that experience when you see your body transforming, and the capacity that this beautiful machine has to transform and to reinvent and to recreate. To me, that's unbelievable. That's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And of course, we have that capacity, and when we combine that with our mind and the spiritual part of it, then the emotions are all nice and you're happy.
Right. And I think that's the whole really spirit of bodybuilding, is always improving. It doesn't matter what age you are,
Exactly.
or even if you're disabled. We've seen disabled competitors and everything. I mean, everybody always wants to improve. Even if you've been doing this for 40 years, 50 years, you still want to go to the gym and want to improve. Even if you're 70 years old, you still go to the gym and you say, I have to improve upon what I am now. And that's the whole spirit of bodybuilding,
Exactly. And that probably, in the general way, that's probably the mentality that is lacking in the general population.
Oh, yeah.
That
Sure.
you see people at the gym and they don't have that focus. The real reason why you there in that gym, why you pay the membership, why are you there? How can you be there with a phone in your hand? How can people don't have this connection, the mind-body connection,
Yeah.
the muscle-mind connection. Like if you're doing your body, I see you doing your workout and you focus.
Yeah.
Looking at the phone, talking to somebody, and this
Right.
kind of, because the mind and the body, they work together. It's
Right.
just, I'm doing my biceps, I'm right there with my bicep. Whatever I'm doing, I'm there with the muscle,
Right.
and the muscle respond.
Right. So you're doing this Sergio Pacheco show at the end of the month on the 28th, correct?
The 28th, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
And then next year you're going to keep going?
Oh, definitely. What my goal for next year is probably your show, which is in
Great.
May.
We would love to have you back.
Thanks. And then Southern State, which I love that show.
Yeah.
I've been doing that show. I'm in the Hall of Fame there.
Southern
That-
States, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was one of my first shows, big shows like that when
Yeah.
I started, and I did so well. I won. I mean, I'm in the Hall of Fame there. Of course, I love the show.
That's a great show, yeah. I love that show.
And then Nationals. I want to go back to Nationals. Go ahead. I went to these Nationals and I wasn't in the shape that I should have been.
That was the Masters Nationals, right? In August?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well-
that's so far for next year. We'll see what the universe, what God has in plan, whatever. I'm ready.
All right. So do you do any training at all, Dr. Josephina, or you're busy with your job, right?
Yeah, I love doing the life coaching.
Yeah.
I like guiding people.
Okay.
That's it. In the more the mental and spiritual and emotional part of
Okay.
it. And physical, I say, okay, go to the gym.
Yeah. How can people get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you?
They can email me. They can FaceTime me, Facebook, YouTube. I'm on Twitter. I'm in the whole thing. They just Google my name.
Okay. What's your email?
Dr. David, Dr. Josefina at att.net.
Okay. All right. We'll put that out there so people can contact you if they need any help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're the one to go to for a positive attitude.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, and to have that confidence, just the greatness that is within each one of us. It's
Yeah.
just to connect with that power, with that energy, with that contentment, with that joy, with the happiness. And it's possible, John. You know, it's not something that I'm talking out there in the clouds. No, here I am. I'm a proof of that.
Yeah, you're living proof.
Exactly. So it's just wonderful.
Okay.
We need a happier world.
Yeah, we
I
do.
feel the joy that when I do the shows, to hear people clapping, and when I listen to the videos, people laughing, and
Right.
the kids, look. I hear the voices of the children. It's just, to me, it's like, that's my payday.
Right.
That's my payday. It's just amazing. And you go into the audience and the people love that, and oh my God, that was so great. It's just fabulous.
Right.
It's so great to help people to feel great. And this is one of the goals when I go to a show. I believe it's not what you say, it's how you make people feel.
Right.
And if they go to your show and they come out of there and they felt good, oh, they had a good time, they had a blast, I think that's success.
Yeah. Well, you're a success. I can attest to that. And I know a lot of people feel the same way I do, that we love to see you on stage. And you're always like one of the highlights of every show you're in. So we're glad that you're a part of our bodybuilding community. And it was great to talk to you. And it was great to get more of your spiritual insight. And we can't wait to see you again on stage, Dr. Josephina.
I love you. Thank you so much.
All right. All right. Well,
love-
thank you for joining us. We know you got to go, but we will see you soon on stage. And hopefully I'll interview you again at some future shows.
Absolutely. Anytime, okay?
All right. Thanks for joining us. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, that's it for another edition of the Florida Physique Report, episode number 50. This was a really special show. Thank you very much for joining us. I want to thank Dave Batista for joining us to talk about his movie career. And I also want to thank Dr. Josefina Monasterio for joining us. It's always a pleasure to talk to her. Next week, we will be back with a report of the NPC South Florida competition, and hopefully we'll have some more special guests on the show. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.